The chamber of the Galactic Council echoed with laughter. Hundreds of alien leaders sat in their shining seats, their jeweled robes glittering under the pale lights. They had gathered to watch a demonstration, one that would decide if humanity was worthy to join the great powers of the galaxy. At the center of the room, under the sharp gaze of every alien, stood a single ship, humanity's offering. But instead of awe, it brought mockery. The vessel looked small compared to the massive warships the galaxy was used to. Its surface was scratched, dented, and worn. Its black hull was dull without the smooth glow of modern alloy. The engines looked clumsy, the plating uneven, and its design old-fashioned, almost primitive. To the aliens, it was a joke. They could not stop laughing at what humanity dared to present. "Is this truly the best they have?" sneered one alien admiral with scales shining like gold. "I have seen mining drones with better armor than this rusted toy." His words sent waves of laughter around the hall. Another alien leaned forward, his 4 eyes gleaming with delight. Did humans pull this wreck from a scrapyard? Or did they build it from spare parts left behind by scavengers? The laughter grew louder. Some aliens even slapped the tables with their claws and tentacles, unable to control themselves. To them, the ship was not just weak, it was pathetic. The humans stood quietly at the edge of the chamber. Their diplomats showed no anger, no shame. They did not rise to defend themselves or explain their choice. They simply stood still, their faces calm, their silence deeper than any words. That silence only made the aliens laugh harder. One alien, commander tall and covered in dark armor, leaned back with a cruel smile. "So this is humanity's pride? This broken piece of junk? You expect us to believe this vessel is dangerous?" His voice rang across the chamber. "I could destroy it with one strike from a training cruiser." The council roared with laughter again, but in the back of the room, a few alien tacticians grew quiet. Their sharp eyes studied the ship. Something about it was strange. The patterns on its hull were not random scratches. They were markings, carved deep into the metal like scars of age. The alloy itself was unfamiliar, its texture different from the metals commonly used. It almost seemed ancient. One tactician whispered to another, "Look closer, that design. I have seen something like it before, in old records, very old records." But the laughter drowned out his words. The humans did not move. They let the aliens laugh. Let them believe it was weak. Let them enjoy their arrogance. The more they laughed, the more the humans' silence unsettled them. Why did they not defend themselves? Why did they not explain? Why did they not protest the insults? Deep down, the laughter began to taste hollow. It was too easy, too simple. Something about the humans' calmness felt wrong, as if they knew a secret no one else understood. The alien council leader finally raised his long arm, and the laughter slowed. His many eyes narrowed as he looked at the vessel. "Humans," he said coldly, "do you truly claim this is a weapon? Do you expect us to believe this ship can match the fleets of the galaxy? It is small. It is ugly. It is weak." The lead human diplomat stepped forward. His suit was plain, without gold or jewels. His eyes met the council leaders, and he spoke in a steady voice. "You may laugh at the ship. You may call it weak. But do not mistake age for weakness. What you see is not the beginning of our power. It is the memory of what we once built." His words fell like a stone into a silent lake. The chamber froze. The aliens shifted uneasily. Some scoffed, others frowned, but the tacticians at the back grew pale. They leaned forward, staring harder at the vessel. Their hands tapped quickly on their data screens, pulling up forgotten archives. Old reports, fragments of lost wars. One of them whispered, voice trembling, It cannot be. Not that design, not after so long. But before they could finish, the laughter returned, though weaker than before. Some aliens forced their amusement louder, trying to bury the strange unease creeping into their hearts. Empty. Words. One admiral snapped. A broken ship dressed in mystery is still a broken ship. We will prove it in battle. One strike will show the truth. The humans said nothing. They simply watched. The council ordered a test. The weak human ship would face a trial in open space. The aliens believed it would be torn apart in seconds. But as the order was given and the ship was prepared for battle, a chill moved across the chamber. The laughter was gone now. In its place, silence stretched long and heavy, because somewhere deep in the aliens' minds a question began to grow. What if the humans were not lying? What if the ship was older than it looked? What if it was something the galaxy had not seen in 1,000 years? The hook was set. The galaxy was about to learn the truth. The Alien Council wasted no time. Orders were given and the so-called weak human ship was to be tested in open space. Most of the council believed the demonstration would be short, even embarrassing for humanity. The ship would be destroyed in seconds, and the laughter would echo again. But not all were so certain. As the vessel was towed to the trial grounds, whispers spread among the alien observers. Many mocked, but a few fell silent, staring too long at the old black hull. Something about its structure felt wrong. Wrong in a way that triggered memories of old wars, ancient battles spoken of only in fragments. In a quiet corner, Admiral Varric, a veteran of the Zorathi Empire, narrowed his sharp yellow eyes. He had fought in many campaigns across the stars. He knew the shape of ships like he knew the ridges of his claws. But this one carried echoes. He leaned closer to his display. "Where have I seen this design?" he muttered. His second-in-command leaned closer, scanning data streams. "The alloy is not listed in any modern database. The engine patterns do not match current human models. This is strange." While others mocked, Varric felt a knot in his chest. A feeling he hadn't felt in decades. Uncertainty. The ship was positioned against a test squadron. 5 alien cruisers, each larger, newer, and bristling with weapons. The plan was simple. The cruisers would fire low-intensity shots enough to cripple the human ship but not destroy it entirely, allowing the galaxy to laugh at its weakness. The audience in the chamber leaned forward, eager for the show. Inside the human ranks, there was no movement, no panic. Their diplomats sat calmly, their eyes fixed on the projection of the trial. Their silence continued to gnaw at the aliens. Some aliens whispered nervously now. Why were the humans so calm? Why did they not argue or defend themselves? The trial began. The first alien cruiser fired. A searing plasma bolt streaked through space and slammed against the hull of the human ship. A blast of light filled the screen, yet when the glow faded, the vessel stood unharmed. The audience blinked in confusion. Another cruiser fired, then another. Plasma, lasers, and particle beams hammered against the hull. Each strike shook the space around it, but the human vessel remained untouched. Its dull black hull absorbed, the blows like raindrops against stone. The chamber filled with murmurs. "How is that possible?" one alien gasped. "Those shots could destroy a modern frigate." Admiral Varric's claws tapped against the armrest of his chair. His breathing grew heavy. He remembered now. The markings on the hull, the strange alloy, the silent power. Yes, he had seen this before, in forbidden records of the ancient wars. 1,000 years ago, entire civilizations had been wiped out by ships that bore similar designs. Ships that belonged to no empire still alive. Ships that had vanished into legend. Varric's voice cracked as he whispered, "No, this cannot be." The alien council leader grew impatient. "Increase the firepower. Crush this toy once and for all." The alien cruisers unleashed their full power. Beams ripped through space, plasma storms burned, missiles streaked across the void. Explosions wrapped around the human vessel so bright the screens went white. The audience cheered, certain the ship was gone. But when the light faded, it was still there, unharmed, silent, watching. The chamber fell into silence. The ship had not even fired back. It had not moved. It simply stood, weathering the storm as though the galaxy's strongest weapons were nothing but sparks. The humans remained calm, their eyes unshaken. The silence in the chamber turned heavy, pressing down on every alien heart. The laughter that once filled the room was gone. Now, there was only unease. One of the alien tacticians slammed his hand against the table, pulling up ancient records on his screen. His voice trembled as he read aloud. 1,000 years ago, there are reports of human activity far earlier than we believed. Battles, ruins, ships like this. His eyes widened. This vessel is not weak. It is not new. It is old, too old, and yet, it lives. The council members looked at him in disbelief. "Impossible," one growled. "Humans were primitive 1,000 years ago." The tactician turned his screen toward them. "Then explain this design. Explain this alloy. Explain why our strongest weapons cannot break it." The words hung in the air like thunder. For the first time, fear crept into the eyes of the alien leaders. If humanity truly had built this ship 1,000 years ago, what else had they hidden? How many other ships slept in silence? What kind of civilization had humans been before the galaxy ever knew them? The human diplomat finally spoke, his voice soft but firm. "You wish to test our ship. You wish to mock it. You wish to see its weakness. Now you have seen enough." He did not smile. He did not raise his voice. He simply let the words fall like iron. The chamber trembled, not from weapons, not from power, but from a truth too heavy to ignore. The laughter was gone. Suspicion now ruled the room, and fear was only beginning. The trial field hung in silence. 5 alien cruisers armed with the most advanced weapons of their empires had unleashed their fury. Plasma storms, particle beams, missile salvos, all had struck with blinding force. Yet the human ship floated there untouched, its black hull calm as if it had faced nothing more than a passing breeze. The Galactic Council chamber, once filled with mocking laughter, now sat frozen. No one spoke. No one even moved. The laughter that had shaken the walls earlier was gone, replaced by an eerie weight pressing on every throat. Admiral Varric's claws dug into his seat. He had seen enough. His voice trembled as he whispered to his aides, This is not human arrogance. This is history breathing again." His aides looked at him in confusion, but Varric's eyes stayed fixed on the projection. He knew what was coming. The council leader slammed his hand down. "This is a trick," he barked, trying to push away the unease spreading across the chamber. "That vessel is nothing but a bluff. Order it destroyed." The command went out. The cruisers reformed, preparing for a combined strike. Massive warheads were loaded, the kind used only to shatter fortified moons. Their targeting arrays locked onto the human ship. In the council hall, the aliens leaned forward, desperate to prove to themselves that this weak ship was nothing but an illusion. The order was given. The void erupted. All 5 cruisers fired as one. Missiles streaked. Across the black, beams carved glowing lines through the darkness, and shockwaves tore through the trial grounds. The blast was so bright the screens overloaded. For a moment, the projection turned into a sun. The aliens cheered, not in joy but in fear, forcing themselves to believe it was over. And then, the light cleared. The human ship was still there, unharmed. But now, it moved. The vessel that had been silent until now shifted slowly, deliberately. Its engines glowed, not with the blue-white flame of modern drives, but with a deep golden fire, ancient and steady, like the beating of a colossal heart. Symbols carved into its hull came alive, glowing faintly with lines of light that pulsed across its surface. The chamber filled with gasps. Even the council leader's voice failed. The ship's weapons awakened. Along its hull, hidden ports opened, revealing cannons older than the empires themselves. Energy built inside them, a low hum that vibrated through the projection. The sound was not mechanical. It was alive, like the roar of something ancient rising from its sleep. One alien officer in the chamber dropped to his knees, his voice breaking. "This is impossible. These weapons, they match the archives of the first cataclysm." The word spread like fire. The first cataclysm, an ancient war, 1,000 years past when entire civilizations had vanished under weapons too terrible to understand. The survivors of that age had buried the memory, whispering that the ships of that war had vanished forever. And yet, one of them stood before them now, under human command. In the trial field, the alien cruisers panicked. They launched countermeasures, fired desperately, tried to scatter. But the human ship was no longer silent. Its first shot fired. It was not light. It was not plasma. It was something deeper, a beam of golden energy that cut across the void like the edge of a blade. One cruiser was sliced in half instantly, its core exploding into a brief, silent bloom of fire. The chamber gasped in horror. A second shot followed, then a third. Each beam tore through shields as if they were paper, armor as if it were dust. The remaining cruisers disintegrated one by one, their screams cut short as the ancient weapons erased them from existence. In less than a minute, 5 mighty warships, symbols of the galaxy's pride, were nothing but drifting ash. Silence. The human ship powered down its weapons. Its engines dimmed, the golden fire fading to a soft glow. It did not pursue. It did not boast. It simply returned to silence, floating in the void as if the massacre had been nothing. The council chamber shook with whispers. It cannot be. Humanity was not advanced then. How do they have this? Did they build it? Did they find it? If they built it 1,000 years ago, what were they then? Admiral Varric finally rose to his feet, his voice breaking. The chamber's fear. "Fools," he said bitterly. "You laughed at them because you thought they were young. But look at that ship. Look at its scars. That vessel was not built yesterday. It was built when our own empires were crawling in. The dirt. Humanity is not young, humanity is old. Older than we knew, and we should fear what else they have hidden." The human diplomat stood once more. His voice was calm, almost gentle, but it carried across the entire hall. "You asked if our ship was weak. You asked if it was a joke. You saw what you wanted to see. Scrap, rust, ruin. But you did not see the truth. You did not see that this vessel is not our beginning. It is our memory. Built 1,000 years ago, and still alive. The chamber shook with silence. No alien dared laugh now. The revelation was complete. The galaxy had learned the truth. Humanity's ship was not weak. It was ancient. It was powerful. And it was only one. And if there was one, how many more waited in the dark? The wreckage of 5 cruisers drifted in silence across the trial field. Flames flickered in the void before fading into cold shadows. The human ship did not move. It floated calmly, as though destroying fleets was nothing unusual. Its dark hull glowed faintly with golden lines, a quiet reminder of the power it still held. In the Galactic Council chamber, fear spread like a storm. The aliens who once mocked humanity now sat pale and trembling. Some whispered in disbelief. Some tried to deny what they saw, but none could hide the fear in their eyes. The laughter that had once filled the room was gone forever. An insectoid leader with glittering wings pressed his claws against the table. That ship, it cannot be real. 1,000 years? Humans could not have built it then. His voice shook, betraying his fear. Admiral Varric slammed his fist against the rail. You blind fools. The markings, the alloy, the weapons. It is all there. This is no trick. This is no bluff. Humanity built this vessel long before we believed they could even leave their world. The words hit the chamber harder than any weapon. If it was true, then everything they thought about humanity was wrong. Humanity was not a young race stumbling into the stars. Humanity was old. Older than many of their empires. Older than the councils themselves. One alien ruler, covered in shimmering robes, leaned forward, his voice low. If they built this 1,000 years ago, how many others have they built? How many ships are hidden, waiting? The chamber turned cold. Every leader felt the same chill. What if this was only one vessel out of many? What if fleets of ancient human warships still slept in silence, waiting for the day to awaken? The human diplomat stood calmly at the center. His face was unreadable, his tone quiet. You mocked our ship. You laughed at what you thought was weakness. But now you see the truth. Humanity has not revealed all that it is. We choose what to show. We choose what to awaken. His words sank deep into every mind. For the first time, the mighty rulers of the galaxy did not see humans as weak. They saw them as dangerous, silent predators who hid their strength until the moment it was needed. A reptilian general leaned toward his allies, his tongue flicking nervously. We cannot allow them to rise unchecked. If they have more ships, if they have more weapons, they could rule the galaxy. But another voice, softer and older, spoke from across the chamber. Or they could already rule it, and they are only waiting. The thought sent a shiver through the hall. Humanity had shown only one ship, and already it had shattered the pride of the galaxy's strongest cruisers. If they truly had fleets, then perhaps the galaxy had never been the masters at all. Perhaps humanity had always been the shadow behind, history, waiting. The council leader, who once laughed the loudest, now struggled to breathe. His many eyes shifted nervously as he tried to steady his voice. Humans. What do you want? Why reveal this now? What is your intention? The human diplomat looked at him, calm and steady. We do not seek your fear, but we will not accept your mockery. We came here for respect. You saw us as children. Now you know better. The silence that followed was heavy. For the first time in council history, it was the humans who controlled the room, not with numbers, not with power spoken, but with the weight of what they had revealed. One by one, alien leaders lowered their gazes. Pride had no place now. They whispered among themselves, some plotting alliances, some whispering of treaties, some already calculating how to beg humanity for friendship. But beneath it, all there was fear. What kind of people hid such power for so long? What kind of people built weapons that survived for 1,000 years? Weapons still beyond the reach of the galaxy's finest engineers. And what kind of future would humanity bring if provoked? Admiral Varric spoke again, his voice sharp but heavy. You wanted to laugh at them. You wanted to treat them as weak. Now you will remember this day. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is the ghost of a power older than your empires, and if they awaken it fully, the galaxy will kneel. No one argued with him. Not this time. In the trial field, the human ship drifted back toward the human's command. It gave no signal of threat, no words of warning. It did not need to. Its silence spoke louder than any declaration. The council chambers remained hushed. Respect, once denied, was now forced upon every leader present. Fear had carved it deep into their hearts. The galaxy had laughed at humanity. Now, the galaxy could not forget what it had seen, and somewhere deep inside, each alien wondered the same chilling thought: if this was humanity's past, what would their future bring? The council chamber lay in silence. Not a single alien dared to speak too loudly, afraid their own words might echo as weakness. The laughter from earlier was gone, replaced by a heavy silence that pressed down on every leader present. The human ship, that weak relic, had destroyed 5 cruisers without effort. The galaxy had been forced to watch, forced to accept what they once mocked. The human diplomat stood tall, his face calm, his voice steady. We do not seek conquest. We do not seek to rule. But you will never mock humanity again. What you saw today was not new. It was not an experiment. It was a memory, a reminder of what we have always been capable of. His words cut deep, for every alien leader remembered the destruction they had just witnessed. 1,000 years had passed, yet that ship still carried power beyond their own. If humanity once forged such weapons, what else could they have created? Admiral Varric spoke again, his voice low and rough. One ship is enough to shake us all, but what if there are more? What if fleets of these ancient vessels still lie, hidden? What if this is not the end, but the beginning? The question lingered, heavy as stone. The aliens shifted uneasily in their seats, their imaginations filling with nightmares of 1,000 human warships awakening at once. The human diplomat did not answer at first. He let the silence grow until every eye in the chamber was locked on him. Then, with a faint breath, he said, "What you saw, Nan, was not alone." Gasps broke the chamber. In the void of space beyond the station, the stars shimmered. At first it seemed like a trick of the light, a scattering of dust. But then shapes emerged, dark, vast, and silent. One after another, massive shadows slipped free of their hiding places, cloaked by the blackness of space. Ancient human warships. Dozens, then hundreds. Their hulls bore the same golden scars, the same strange alloys, the same markings of a civilization long thought primitive. Some were as large as cities, their engines glowing faintly like suns trapped in cages. Others were smaller but bristled with the silent promise of fire. The chamber erupted in cries of shock and fear. Leaders shouted over one another, some denying what they saw, others already begging for alliances, a few trembling too hard to speak at all. Admiral Varric fell silent, his jaw tightening as his worst fears unfolded. "They were never weak," he whispered. "They were only waiting." The human diplomat raised his hand, and his voice carried calm authority. "These ships have slept for 1,000 years. We did not bring them to frighten you. We brought them to remind you that humanity's history is deeper than you believed. We have endured wars you cannot imagine. We have survived storms that erased empires before you were born. And we will endure again, should the galaxy forget. The aliens sat frozen. Some trembled, some glared. But all of them understood. Humanity was not a rising power. Humanity was an ancient one. The galaxy had mocked them for bringing one weak ship. Now the galaxy saw fleets that could drown the stars. The human diplomat's eyes swept across the council. We came not for your pity. We came not for your scorn. We came for your respect. Mock us again, and you will wake more than old ships. You will wake our wrath. The chamber fell silent once more. The words carried no threat of invasion, no declaration of war, yet every leader in the chamber knew the truth. Mockery was over. Humanity had spoken. Humanity had revealed its legacy, and that legacy was power. Beyond the council station, the ships remained silent, their engines glowing faintly, waiting. They did not fire. They did not advance. But their presence was enough. A reminder carved into the stars themselves. The galaxy would never laugh at humanity again, because in the silence of space, the truth was clear. Humanity had not just arrived. Humanity had always been here, watching, waiting, building, and now the legacy of 1,000 years had awakened.